Keir Starmer traveled to the G7 summit with the intention of demonstrating leadership and strength on the international stage. However, while seeking to project authority abroad, signs of strain were already emerging back home. Just hours after delivering a firm statement on how he intended to tackle illegal immigration, his own government quietly revealed a reality that was even more alarming than the one he had described publicly. The pressure on the government continues to mount. The numbers keep rising, and public confidence in the Prime Minister is now under serious scrutiny. Let's examine the latest developments. But first, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Starmer has come under renewed criticism following comments made at the summit, where he appeared to downplay the severity and urgency of the migration crisis facing the country. Soon after, Downing Street acknowledged that not only was the situation not improving, it was getting worse. In a press briefing, the Prime Minister stated that he wanted more effective cooperation in northern France and confirmed that he had discussed the issue of channel crossings with President Emmanuel Macron. He asserted that tackling illegal immigration was a top priority and reiterated his commitment to dismantling the criminal networks involved in people smuggling. However, just hours later, an official spokesperson from Number 10 admitted that the situation in the channel was rapidly deteriorating. The spokesperson said that migration should be treated as a top-level concern in light of recent developments and stressed the need to continue working with international partners to find innovative solutions. This statement stood in stark contrast to the optimistic tone Starmer had struck at the G7, where he implied progress that is not supported by the facts. Since taking office in July 2024, the number of small boat crossings has shown no sign of decreasing. By the 26th of March, less than 9 months into his term, it had already been confirmed that around 30,000 people had crossed the English Channel under his watch. At that point, official figures for 2025 indicated that a further 6,100 had already arrived. In total, it is estimated that nearly 40,000 migrants have entered the UK this way since Starmer became Prime Minister. Moreover, it was reported that over 2,000 people made the dangerous journey in the 7 days prior, and on the day the report was released, at least 250 more had already crossed. These figures have fueled the ongoing debate over whether the government is acting with sufficient urgency and effectiveness. In this context, the Labour Party has also faced backlash following remarks made by Treasury Minister Darren Jones during an appearance on the BBC's Question Time. Jones stated that the majority of migrants crossing in small boats were women and children. His comment came in response to Zia Youssef, deputy leader of Reform UK, who had challenged Labour's track record on border policy. Jones described his experience aboard a border force vessel, saying that during the visit he had seen mostly children, babies, and women. However, the remark was interpreted by many, including Nigel Farage, as a broader claim about the overall migrant demographic. Farage shared a 10-second clip of the exchange, claiming Jones had said the majority of illegal migrants arriving in Dover were women and children, labeling the statement false and accusing the minister of being out of touch. In response to the controversy, Jones later clarified that he had been referring to one specific visit and not to the overall data. He explained that Reform had edited the clip to distort the context, and that anyone who watched the full conversation would understand he was recounting a personal experience during a visit to the Border Security Command. Nonetheless, official statistics from the Home Office leave little room for misinterpretation. In 2024, out of the 36,816 people who arrived by small boat, 73%, a total of 26,999, were adult males. This figure directly contradicts the notion that most arrivals are women or children. The government's formal position remains that people smuggling networks lie at the heart of the problem, and that decisive action is being taken to dismantle them. A Home Office spokesperson stated that it is critical to stop dangerous small boat crossings, which put lives at risk and undermine national security. The spokesperson added that smuggling gangs do not care whether the vulnerable people they exploit live or die, as long as they get paid. For that reason, the government has developed a comprehensive plan to dismantle these networks at every operational level. The measures announced include increased enforcement in northern France, the establishment of a new Border Security Command, and new legislative powers under the Border Security, Asylum, and Immigration Bill. Nevertheless, with crossings continuing to rise, critics argue that the Prime Minister's tough rhetoric must now be matched by visible, concrete action, especially as the government approaches its first full year in office. In other news, the Doge unit, spearheaded by Nigel Farage, has claimed that taxpayers in Kent have been funding thousands of pounds worth of expenses, including TV licenses and cinema tickets, for migrants residing in the county without legal status. A damning report compiled by Reform UK reveals that Kent County Council allocated at least £1,000 to cover the cost of TV licenses, amounting to £174.50 per household, so that those who arrived in small boats could access BBC programming during 2022. In addition, asylum seekers were taken on various recreational outings, including trips to trampoline parks, bowling alleys, and cinemas across different parts of what is often referred to as the Garden of England. Altogether, these expenditures, which also included shopping at retail outlets such as JD Sports and PC World, totaled £24,000. The spending comes at a particularly sensitive moment, as Kent remains one of the main entry points in the ongoing migrant crisis, with 16,000 asylum seekers having completed the perilous 21-mile crossing so far in 2025 alone. Zia Youssef, head of Reform's Doge unit, denounced what he described as a deep fiscal injustice, pointing out that while British citizens have been prosecuted for failing to pay their own TV licenses, asylum seekers are receiving such benefits funded by the public. In his statement, he directly criticised the former Conservative administration of Kent County Council, accusing it of mismanagement and asserting that Reform will fight to defend the interests of the taxpayer. The report was released just hours after Liberal Democrat MP Mike Martin publicly attacked Youssef, accusing him of leading a clown show over his claims. Martin stated on social media that Kent County Council does not have a dedicated asylum budget, dismissing Youssef's remarks as absurd. However, Nathaniel Fry, a rising figure within Reform's Doge unit, responded firmly, describing Martin's comments as, at the very least, misleading. Fry pointed out that there are indeed clearly defined budget allocations for asylum seekers in Kent. He cited specific spending codes, including Category 32V for asylum residential placements, 32Q for non-placement costs for those aged 18 and over, and 32P for accommodation of minors aged 16 to 17. He explained that these allocations are registered under various service names and are typically managed by the Children, Young People and Education Directorate. Beyond the budget classifications, GB News also recently revealed that Kent County Council had been using taxpayer funds to rent administrative office space in Brussels, nearly 200 miles from British territory. In the 2025 local elections, Reform UK took control of the council from the Conservatives, securing 57 of the 81 available seats. Zia Youssef, who recently stepped down as Reform UK chairman but returned to the role just 2 days later, formally launched the party's Doge unit last week at Kent County Hall in Maidstone. Joining the team is Aaron Banks, known for his role in the Brexit campaign, who will serve as an advisor alongside Youssef and Fry. Youssef has also begun meeting with officials in West Northamptonshire and has pledged that every local authority under Reform's leadership will undergo rigorous financial audits. What's your view on everything we've covered today? Let us know in the comments section. And if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest British news. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.